Okay guys, well listen, I've been making you some videos about these Malinois and about Labrador puppies and whatever, but I thought that you might be kind of interested in some of the other stuff that I see every once in a while. Here's what we have, is old pit bull. Now of course, this pit bull's here, like most people that call me with a pit bull, it's attacking other dogs. Hell, it got here, it tried to kill my goat right off the bat, started a couple of dog fights. But when it's not doing that kind of stuff, it's a fantastic dog. These pit bulls, they possess a dichotomy of personality. Man, when they're being a good dog, they are absolutely the best dog you've ever seen. They'll cuddle up on the couch right beside you, they'll get in bed with you, they'll play with your kids, and they'll play with your cats, and they'll play with your other dogs, and they just have a good time. And then bam, next thing you know, they're in a dog fight, or they're after the neighbor's cat, or sometimes they're after the neighbor himself. And that's tough to accept because, on the internet people want to argue, and some people want to say these dogs are perfect, and other people want to say, well, these dogs are awful all the time. And the reality is they just have a dichotomy of personality. When they're being good, they're really, really good. And when they're being bad, they're really, really bad. Now, I like this dog a lot, but you'll notice that I'm having to take precautions with this dog that I don't have to take with others. First thing, I got me a Herm Springer slip collar on this dog, and I got a leash, a long leash. I don't let her fool around much without this long leash on, without this slip collar on, because when she goes to acting bad, which believe me, she does at the drop of a hat, I need to be able to really get a hold of her, and I need to be able to control her head. Now, this dog's a couple of years old. She was a rescue from out of California, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to train her, basically like I would train a puppy, only with more precautions. Okay, so I'm going to take this first week that I have her, and it's going to be good student week, where I control her food and I give her rations based on just calm, attentive behavior, like she's sitting here listening to me yap on and on right now. I'm being pretty patient, and every so often I'm giving her a treat each week. What I'll be doing is I'll be increasing the time intervals between these treats, right? Okay, but while I'm doing that, I've got to be honest with myself and say, okay, what am I going to do when this dog wants to fight the other dogs, or when it wants to kill my goats? This piece of food, see this piece of food right here? Well, that piece of food, she likes it, but she doesn't like it near as much as she likes killing goats, I can tell you that, right? So that's where this comes in. Sometimes, guys, you just got to be able to get a hold of them, and you got to be able to control them physically. All right, so let's get to work here. Alright, so one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm just going to take off, and I'm going to put this dog in situations where she's around other dogs that are well socialized, like my dog Floyd here. Okay, and I'm going to give her treats for whenever she shows me any kind of behavior that's appropriate, right? So I have this leash. Okay, you can see it kind of, and I'm just waiting. If she goes to do something wrong, I've got super fast reflexes, and I'll pull her up by her head, and I'll control her head. And whenever she's, tolerant or patient, or she pays attention to me instead of that other dog, I'll say, hey, I appreciate it, and then I'll take off walking. Now, as I'm walking with this long line, I kind of like to feed that line out and let her have, let her have her head. I don't want to, I'm not one of these trainers that thinks a dog needs to always be walking with its head by your knee or anything like that. When I go out, I want the dog to be, kind of patient. When I stop, I'd like for that dog to stop and come back and kind of pay attention, Obviously, if we're tied together, dog can't just keep walking, Alright, so I stop, and when she stops and pays attention, I give her some treats, and then we take off walking again. Come on, babies. Now we go to moving. Of course, I talk to her like we're going to move, so you'll hear me say, oh, come on, or something like that. Good, and then we're walking, and then I'll stop, call her back here, and give her some treats. Good. Now you notice there's some other dogs running around in the background. That's what this long line is for. First few times I did this, she just took off like a rocket trying to attack them. Well, she got into that lead, and basically what happened is she kind of hung herself. She's running 100 miles an hour. She gets into that leash, and that old Herm Springer collar contracts on her. She said, oh, gee whiz, what the heck is that? And I said, well, all I can tell you is it's bad to run away and try to kill other dogs, and it's good to come over here and hang out with Uncle Stonnie. She said, well, then, I think I'll come back over there and hang out with Uncle Stonnie. And so that's our whole first thing. Our first week is just making her understand that being with Uncle Stonnie is good. Being compliant on this leash, being nice around the other dogs, it's a good thing. And hopefully, here in the next week or two, she'll start to understand that her life is just a whole lot better when she's nice and polite and calm and attentive. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you next week, and maybe I'll bring you an update on this old dog here. Say bye, Daisy. Say, oh, yes. See y'all next week.